So, Fissure's on the Seoul Dynasty now, huh? That's an absolutely massive move that happened. And yes, I know I am a little bit late to the party as this move happened over a week ago, but I haven't had time to sit down and make a video about it up until now. So for all of you subscribers that have been patiently waiting for the next video, I apologize. But let's talk about the main subject at hand. Fissure being traded from LA Gladiators to Seoul Dynasty. This is a massive move that will definitely affect the entire league as a whole. And of course, I say this for the obvious reasons that Seoul Dynasty is a better team now. They're more of a threat to everyone in the entire Overwatch league, as they got a more consistent main tank in Fissure, who is also a superstar. He's a stud. He's one of the best tanks in the world, not just an Overwatch league. He is a monster. And of course, before we talk all about this big move for the Seoul Dynasty and just how beneficial it is for them, we need to talk about the loser of this trade being the LA Gladiators, as this definitely hurts them. Because for one, they have a big hole at main tank now, but two, they're missing a superstar playmaker. Fissure was both of those guys. He was your good main tank, but he was also one of the biggest contributors to the squad, along with Surefour and Hydration. Now they definitely have a big time hole at main tank though, and not just because they're missing Fissure, but also because they're lacking depth at the position, as they only have iRemix on the roster at the moment. And don't get me wrong, iRemix isn't the worst main tank in the league, but I'd say he's definitely mid-tier at best. You could even just say he's bottom tier. Not the worst, but certainly nowhere near the best. But there's no reason to get nervous yet, Gladiators fans, because there's still hope. Panker from the LA Gladiators Legion on the Overwatch Contenders team is looking very promising, and who knows, maybe he could be the savior of this team. He might not be as good as Fissure, but he'll help the team get the job done, and the Gladiators will hopefully still be a very competitive team overall. And if for some reason he's not good enough, perhaps you can trade with Seoul Dynasty and maybe get Miro, perhaps trade Asher and someone else for him, maybe some money, whatever you have to do. I know that Miro has fallen off significantly, but maybe a change in scenery is what he needs. Maybe going to the LA Gladiators will help revitalize his career and he'll become a good main tank again. You never know. But these are all what ifs. The Gladiators' future is a little bit uncertain, but it's not time to hit the panic button yet. So now let's talk a little bit more about Seoul Dynasty and just how big this move is for them. Multiple weeks ago, I made a video talking about how the Seoul Dynasty were lacking a good main tank, main support, and DPS player other than Fleta. But now you can check main tank off your list since you have Fissure. You're all set there. He's going to help you get a bunch of more wins during this upcoming season. But their work definitely is not done yet. They have a lot more work ahead of them because main support they're definitely lacking in right now because Gambler is no longer on the team. He retired, so you only have Toby, who is mostly known for his Lucio, so you need to find a better Mercy player. I know that Mercy isn't quite as meta as she used to be, but she's still one of the better healers out there. You definitely want to run her in certain comps, especially when you have a Pharah, so it wouldn't hurt to find a really good Mercy player, and if you can't find one, maybe you can convince Jahan to switch over to main support, and then you can find a really good Zen player. Maybe you could put Guido up there, whatever you have to do. Just find a better main support. And DPS is also kind of a mess because Munchkin and Wakib were both pretty mediocre. They didn't have very many outstanding performances, and after the first two stages, Fleta definitely fell off as well. They're lacking a super consistent DPS, and that's what I think they really need to go out there and do during this offseason. Or hopefully just during the regular season, whenever it happens, whether it's training for effect or perhaps finding a hidden gem in Korea somewhere. You got to find a really good DPS to pair up with Fleta. Hopefully that'll help relieve some of that stress that he had to deal with for carrying so much throughout the season. I know that Fissure's going to help out, but having another DPS be there too will definitely be beneficial. Either way, whether Seoul Dynasty does make a few more moves or not, I think they're going to be a playoff team come season 2 because Fissure's just that good. We saw how he transformed the Gladiators from this mid-tier to low-tier team to an absolute juggernaut being one of the best teams in the league. And if they didn't run into London Spitfire and maybe they faced off against someone like Boston Uprising instead, who knows what would have happened? They could have at least made it to the semifinals, am I right? I honestly don't see why the same thing wouldn't just happen to Seoul. Fissure's just that good, man. I don't know what else to say. He is such a hard carry, and he'll be at his absolute best on Seoul because, as we all know, his main language is Korean. That's his first language, his native language. But He had to try and pick up some English along the way during the season, which definitely wasn't easy. His English has certainly gotten better, but it's nowhere near where he wanted it to be, and as a result, I think there were some communication issues at time, even with Bishu trying to translate. You have to remember that he is also Korean, so there may be some things he doesn't understand as well, but now that he's on Seoul, he can go all out. He can let loose. He can just speak Korean. He doesn't have to worry about messing up any translations. He's good. And communication is something that Seoul desperately needed, especially at their main tank position, because it's been said multiple times that Miro is not the best with his communication and his shot calling. He's a very aggressive tank that goes in by himself a lot, but now they have Fissure, and we know that he loves to call the shots. He loves to act like he owns the team he's on, so that's definitely not going to be a problem. And then you also have Jae-hong, another really good leader. I think Seoul's definitely heading in a big-time upward trend right now. They have a more skillful communicator and player overall at main tank now. They are definitely going to be a playoff team. I'd be shocked if they missed. So now let's talk just a little bit about how this affects the rest of the teams in the Overwatch League. So first off, good luck Pacific Division, because Seoul Dynasty is a big time threat now with Fissure on the roster. Especially good luck to LA Valiant, because they're the top dog. Seoul Dynasty is going to be coming for them. They want to reclaim their title as the best team in the Pacific Division, like they were in the first half of the Overwatch League. And I honestly think that's the team we're going to see in Overwatch League Season 2. The Stage 1 and Stage 2 Seoul Dynasty that looked very strong at times. Fissure is going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with now that he's not lacking in communication, and he can just go all out and destroy some of these other teams. Also, good luck to the other full Korean teams, that being London Spitfire and NYXL, plus any potential future full Korean squads that we see in Overwatch League that become expansion teams, because Fissure's going to go all out against you guys. We know how competitive and how fired up he gets against London Spitfire and the other full Korean teams. He tries his absolute best against these guys, and with him being on a full Korean roster, I think that he's really going to dominate in some of these games and hard carry at times as well. So, can Seoul Dynasty win Overwatch League Season 2 and become the new champions of the world? Well, it's hard to say. If they don't make any more roster changes this season and they still have the same main support in DPS, well, I'd say they probably won't end up winning the title. But if they do make additional changes to the roster, I don't see why they couldn't at least be one of the top 3, top 4 teams in the league overall and finish in the semifinals or maybe even the grand finals of the Overwatch League. They'll definitely be title contenders no matter what, but I think their chances will significantly go up if they make a few more roster changes. But overall, this Fissure move is a big time victory for Seoul Dynasty, as they're going to be a much better team come Season 2, and we will see Fissure dominate and be at his very best now that he's on a full Korean roster. I promise you that. This Fissure will be an MVP candidate just like last season. He could even win it. That's how good I think he will be in this upcoming season. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm just about ready to wrap things up here, but before I do, big time shout out to Slasher, as he was the first one to talk about how Fissure was unhappy in LA and he wanted to go to the Seoul Dynasty. And even through all the denials of Fissure, it ended up being right. And I think that some people definitely should apologize to Slasher, because everyone yelled at him, said he was wrong. Fissure even said that he was wrong, but look, he ended up being right. Slasher is that good, and I think people in the future should stop disrespecting him so much and look at him as a more reliable source for Overwatch League news and information. And with that out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed, as it tells me you want to see more Overwatch League content here on the channel. Also, if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button and enable notifications so you don't miss the next Overwatch League video. And also, feel free to let me know all of your opinions of this Fissure situation in the comments section. I really do love to have conversations with you guys. And that's it, guys. Until the next one, I'll catch you guys later. I'm out of here. Peace.